Okay, so we've been talking a lot about creating this classroom environment, the school environment, this culture, this kind environment where kids are wanting to learn, and that's all great and dandy, but how do we do it? So that's what this video is all about, setting your classroom up for success, for this positive environment, to create this classroom identity even. And a classroom culture is really about your actions, not your beliefs. So I believe in kindness, and that's all great and that's fine. But it doesn't matter what I believe if my actions don't line up with it. So your culture is about how you act on a daily basis, not this one big, kind moment, every day, normal acts of kindness, okay? So how do we do that? Well, we make our classroom a team, more like a family, right? And a team, they have this innate desire to support each other and encourage each other because their success is tied together. They want to create success for each other because it lifts up the whole team or the whole classroom or even the whole school. So we want to make it a place where they want to be. Right? And that can be tricky. A lot of our kids come in with biases or preconceived notions or bad experiences from other schools or from other teachers, even in our own school, right? We've all had that experience. So we have to create a space where they want to be, where they can be themselves. It has to be a positive learning environment. They have to feel trusted and they have to feel safe amongst their peers and with us. It has to be a place of compassion and empathy and a place where they feel safe to share their ideas, where it's okay for them to be wrong and not be ridiculed, and where they feel safe to try new things, right? Try new ideas, think outside the box, get creative, be who they are. Let their freak flag fly, right? Let them be who they are. And there are different ways that we can do this and create this space as educators. So one massive thing that we can do is to celebrate our students' differences. I know a lot of people talk about tolerating our differences or accepting our differences. No, we are going to celebrate these differences. And for a lot of reasons. One, when we feel celebrated, when we feel like it's great to be who we are, then we feel more confident in our own skin. We know that we are welcomed and included and invited. But it also decreases bullying. And we're going to talk more about that in the bullying unit. But for just a hint of it, bullies go for those kids who are different. If we can remove those perceived differences, because differences are weird, right? If we can remove the differences, we remove the weirdness, we remove the scary big thing that, oh my gosh, they're different because of X, Y, and Z, right? And we're talking about skin color and different families and different abilities, right? All of our bodies are different, height and weight, all of it, hair color. And we're talking about, we all celebrate different holidays and we have different languages and some of us are lefties and some of us are righties, celebrating all of our differences. So we need to see the differences and then we need to love the differences, celebrate it. Wouldn't it be so boring if we all looked the same and we all thought the same and we all liked the same things? What a boring, boring world that would be in. And actually there's a great book called People that can show you what that would look like if we all looked the same and sounded the same, and it's just a very poignant proof, like this is boring, right? So some things that we can do for that, right? We can bring in skin color crayons and we can bring in different toys and with different skin colors. We can have books that showcase different types of families and different languages and different cultures and different holidays. We can just have that available to them. But we can also take it another step, of course. We can do something called the Rainbows of Us, and I'll put the link in for you, the Rainbow Colors of Me. It's fantastic. It's great for back to school, but it's good for any time of the year. We can do culture sharing, Heritage Day or Heritage Week, or a cultural fair of some kind, or have guests come in and share something from their culture, right? So we're celebrating our differences. Our students feel seen, they feel heard, they know that they are welcome in our big old pot of our classroom where everybody's different, and that's amazing. So the next thing that we can do is really focus on our classroom identity as a group. And there's tons of different ways to do this, and you have to choose what feels comfortable for you, right? Some of our introverted teachers may not love all of these, but some different things that I know will work. A classroom song, like a song that you play all the time. When I was teaching kindergarten, it was What a Wonderful World. And then when I taught third grade, I taught them how to sign it. And that was our performance for our winter holiday program. But that was our song, our class song, and it united us. You could do a classroom handshake, right? And if you need to do a hands-free, you could come up with a hands-free handshake that only you guys know that you can do in your classroom. Or a class name, right? You don't have to be Room 101. You could be the, the purple pandas, whatever you, okay, purple pandas, we're leaving, right? You can bring in some of the silliness and the funness, even for our older students, right? They would probably love that if they were able to decide on the name, vote together, right? Their homeroom or your AP class, whatever the case may be, name your class together. Give them that power to name themselves, right? Or a class cheer. There's those silly ones, right? Like pat yourself on the back, or the seal of approval or round of applause. I've seen like, oh, give yourself some fireworks, so they can cheer each other on, right? Like, you did a good job teaching our kids to cheer for each other, their successes, or oh, good try, you almost did it, or hey, that was a really good try. Giving them those words and those cheers so they can encourage each other, right? Because as a classroom, if we've created this classroom identity, they want each other to succeed. They want the other person to do it, even if they haven't been able to do it yet themselves. And then there's that book, Our Class is Our Family. It's a very sweet way to connect them as you're with each other so many hours of the day, especially in elementary school, creating that classroom identity. Okay, another way is to really focus on connection and building relationships. And for our secondary teachers, that may be really tricky because you're really with your students for a very short period of the day and you have so many students. But there are some ways to do this for elementary through secondary and our pre-Ks. For our younger kids, a journal is a really fun way to have that creative writing. So they're writing to you, they're practicing their letter format, whatever you're using it as, their letter formation, their printing, and then you're writing back to them. And so you can connect. And I have done this with my students, and that's when they tell me things like troubles at home, or something that they're scared of, or something that's happening out on the yard. Things I would never have known if I didn't give them a safe space to tell me privately. They didn't want their friends to see them talking to me. But if all of them are writing, then they feel so much more comfortable to give me that information. I'm not having to pull it out of them. I can see something's wrong. They feel that it's safe to write it down, and I write back to them. Or I used to have, especially with my 5th graders, at the top of a paper, especially in math, when it was something new and tricky, I would have them write me a little note at the top. Dear Mrs. Black, I understand it, or I don't get this at all, or I kind of understand, but I need more help. And I would then know who to pull, and they felt that they got immediate help right away. They got me to see them. You're struggling with this one skill. I'm going to take you right now and I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to help you right now. It's that immediate thing, right? And so they feel connected to me. They know they can come to me with a problem, an issue. I am that safe adult, and they know it because I've proved it. I've also used time with me as a reward, right? So this is a little bit trickier, but I can give up my lunches or my recesses, or they can be with me, or teacher of the day, or they can come and sit next to me at recess, or I know a lot of teachers do after school activities with their kids. I've never done that, but I know lots of teachers who do, or they auction off themselves. If you do your homework for this many days, I used to take my students to lunch off campus. It was a field trip that we would do once a month because my students were not doing their homework. So our families, we came up with a reward, and it was time with me and it was time off campus, and they loved it. And I also have some kindness notes that you can print out on your desk, and you know when your kids are struggling, or when they need just a little pick-me-up. And we never truly know which of our students really needs us to show up, to be that adult, that loving adult, that trusted adult who will just be consistently there, right? We never truly know who those kids are. So if we are there, if we create this environment where they know that we value them, we celebrate who they are, right? We've created this space where they feel safe, they can come to us, we can go to them, their classmates are cheering them on, then they have created a space, especially for our students who don't have that in their home lives. Right? And often our kids with those big crazy behaviors, those are the ones who need us the most. And so when we're creating this classroom identity and this positive space, we're reducing the behavior issues, we're increasing their academic success because they're wanting to then be in a space where they try new things and raise their hands, right? And they're cheering each other on, and they're being cheered on, they're lifted up, their success is celebrated by everyone around them. They are now in a space where we have primed them to be ready to not only succeed academically, but then they can give kindness to other people. We can't force our kids to be kind, but we can create it so that they want to be kind. And the only way we can do that is if their basic needs have been met, and we have created this space where they feel kindness and then they can give it away. So this is that emotional connection, building relationships. In our next video, we're going to talk about creating the physical environment, creating our physical classroom to set it up for kindness, or our school, depending on where we are in the education system. So creating these spaces so that when we move on to our next unit of the basics of kindness, like how to systematically teach this, we have primed it, we are set, we are ready for school to start, or if you're doing it in the middle of the year, we're ready for a change to move forward for more kindness, more speaking with kindness, more acting with kindness, and just a general overall feeling of like, oh, I don't hate it on my school campus, right? We've been on campuses before, right? Where they're just, oh, this is not a very kind or happy or loving place. It comes from that culture that we're creating. And if we can't get it from our administration, if we can't get it from our colleagues, and that happens, we can create it in our own space. That's one of the best parts about teaching. We can close our door and we have created this space for ourselves, for our students, for our little classroom identity and our team, our family of students. All right, I'll see you in the next video and we'll talk about the physical environment.